Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of the Pascack Clutch Podcast. I'm Matthew Merlino, here with my four co-hosts, Sean Barry, Michael McKay, Alex McKay, and Sam Koppelman, and welcome, everybody, to our first episode of Season 2 of this show. Now, we do have a lot to talk about pertaining to mostly college football and the NFL, but first we do want to touch on what's happening here at Pascack Hills, and really only one thing to touch on. That was last Friday, where the Broncos varsity football team took the field for the first time in 2023, and they took a win against Elmwood Park 35-0, putting Pascack Hills up to 1-0 overall, although this was not a conference game. That will start next Friday against Teaneck. Cuddy Zhu had the late touchdown. He only had one. It was a nice about 20-yard run into the end zone. Jake Bugney had a pick six early on for his one touchdown, and the running back, Jordan Morrell, with two touchdowns on the day. That made it 35-0 Pascack Hills, the final. Coming up in Hills Sports here on the PH Athletics channel tomorrow, Thursday, September 7th at 7 o'clock. I believe we will have a boys varsity soccer game against Cliffside Park. That'll be right here at Pascack Hills. And then Friday, we'll have varsity football yet again, this time a conference game against Teaneck. Now on to the sports that we all can talk about. We'll start with college football because that season started just a few weeks ago, actually more than a few weeks ago. It was this past week.
Yeah.
And the big game that we do want to talk about is LSU versus Florida State. But before we do that, we'll talk about the rest of college football. We had number 6 USC defeat San Jose State. Notre Dame defeated Navy. That was in week 0. Pretty much the preseason for college football. Utah defeated Florida 24-11 on Thursday night. And then when we got to Saturday, it was Georgia and Michigan beating their cupcake opponents, of course. Ohio State beat Indiana as well. Alabama won. USC won again. Penn State won, number 7 over West Virginia. Washington at number 10, they defeated Boise State. Texas defeated Rice 37-10 in that annual rivalry. Tennessee defeated Virginia 49-13. Don't know why they put that on ESPN. Notre Dame defeated Tennessee State, but we know it doesn't matter when they lose to Marshall again. No offense to Sean. Oregon defeated Portland State 81-7. Just shows you why you shouldn't have Division II teams playing Division I-A teams. I don't know if they're Division II. Another big game that we want to talk about, Coach Prime's debut in Colorado, defeating the number 2 team in the nation from last year, at least if you count them making the national championship and getting walloped by Georgia.
There's 80 transfers and 68
80 transfers and 68 new scholarships for Deion Sanders, the coach at the Colorado Buffaloes, and already it looks like they'll surpass their win count from last year. They went 1-11 last year. They start off with a win 45-42 against now number 17 TCU. In other ranked scores, we had Oklahoma defeat Arkansas State. UNC, now ranked number 21, defeated South Carolina in the Dukes Mayo Bowl. The ACC may be better than the SEC. We'll just have to find out. 31-17 was the final there. Ole Miss beat Mercer 73-7. Texas A&M beat New Mexico 52-10. Tulane beat South Alabama 37-17. And Iowa, to round out the ranked Saturday games, beat Utah State 24-14. But as we started off with, we'll talk about the big game that we had last week in college football. Number 5 LSU against number 8 Florida State. Now, pretty much everybody thought that we would have an LSU runaway victory, but it was the other way around. Number 8 Florida State out of the SEC taking down one of the SEC powerhouses. Final score 45-24. We'll turn it over to Sean Barry, our big college football fan, to break it down even more.
All right. Even though people are overreacting about this matchup, LSU is still in a good position. All right. Yes, Florida State. Congratulations to them. They won their big game. But since this was a non-conference game, all LSU needs to do win out and win their SEC championship game and make the playoffs. Now, Florida State, on the other hand, since Clemson did lose to Duke and Duke upset them, I do think that Florida State will win the ACC I think they will go undefeated. Maybe I don't know, but if they do undefeated in ACC, then yes, they will make the playoffs.
I mean, personally, I think LSU looks terrible. They have a lot to improve on. It was absolute like ass whooping, to say the least.
I mean, but you can say about that last year. LSU also Florida State they improved on, and look what they did. They beat Bama. They if they didn't lose to Texas A&M in their final week,
still ugly. Like it was absolutely atrocious this weekend.
The term "any given Sunday" really came into effect this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, as Sean said, LSU still has an opportunity, of course, to win the SEC since this was a non-conference game, and pretty much in these past, 10 years that we've had the college football playoff, we've pretty much found that the Big Ten and SEC champions are automatically locked into the playoffs. So
I think that
all LSU needs to do, as Sean said, is win out and win the SEC
and they'll
championship.
make it.
We'll have to see if Georgia is up to that. I mean, they didn't exactly play a known team this week, so we'll just have to wait until week 2 or week 3 to figure that out.
FSU, I think, can easily go undefeated in their conference in the ACC. They have a relatively easy-looking schedule this year for them. Boston College, Clemson, Virginia Tech, Syracuse, Duke, Wake Forest, Pitt, Miami, North Alabama, Florida.
Yeah.
Miami might be a tough matchup for them, though.
Yeah.
They could.
But,
that's going to be fun
that's
to watch.
That's why I said
Rivalries
relatively easy. So, I think they could go at, I don't know, they can have 1-2 losses at most. Not even close to 3.
Yeah, I think the ACC will be a good conference to watch in terms of competition this year. I think that other than maybe the SEC or Big Ten, you watch the Ohio State, Michigan, or Ohio State, Penn State games.
There's going to be some real interesting Ohio State games this year.
Yeah.
All right. Also, new college football rankings came out yesterday after Colorado's big win against TCU. Colorado is now in the top 25 at 22nd.
Yeah.
Also, new ranking.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. Beating Texas
Prime
A&M, Tulane, and Clemson.
All right.
Prime
Do they have any?
With Clemson falling 16 spots into the 25th spot.
What's the
Okay.
spread for them this
Also, Florida State, after their big win against LSU, they move up to 4 now. Even though Ohio State did beat Indiana, they dropped to 5. Ohio State has a lot of improvement. Even though they got their QB Kyle McCord, they still got they still have to work on their offensive line. They did run the ball good, but back in the past when you looked at Ohio State's elite offenses, they would blown out these opponents. But yeah, other news.
So we were just looking at the spread for this weekend for the Colorado game. Actually,
They have them losing to Nebraska. I believe it's 58.6% Nebraska, 41.4% Colorado.
Also, with Penn State, they have a new QB. They're in the Drew Aller era, and they beat West Virginia this past Saturday, primetime game, whiteout. They won 38-15. Penn State, I think they can be dangerous. Maybe beat Ohio State, I don't know, but I think they will have a chance against Michigan since they will be home for that game.
And currently the top 5 rankings are Georgia, Michigan, Alabama, Florida State, and Ohio State.
Well, I guess the top 5 that we were expecting a few years ago, but of course we'll have to wait and see. It's only just week 1.
Week 1.
The big game that I'm sure most, if not all of us, will be watching next week is Alabama versus Texas. That's number 3
Also
versus number 11 in Tuscaloosa, 7 p.m. on ESPN, and we have something coming up at the end of the show that'll let you pick who you think will win that game. But we'll talk about that more at the end of the show.
Also, some other big games in week 2 of the college football season. Notre Dame will go to North Carolina State at 12 p.m. ABC. And then Colorado, they're home big noon on Fox 12 p.m. with your boy Gus Johnson in the booth. And they will take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Miami and Texas A&M will face off at 3:30 p.m. on ABC primetime. And then you got Alabama and Texas, 7 p.m. ESPN. Huge game for Alabama to win. Texas. I mean, this will also be a future SEC matchup. Just how last week, TCU and Colorado, that'll be a definitely big Big 12 matchup.
We do have Ohio State fans in here that I believe want to elaborate on what Sean said a few minutes ago about the Buckeyes. We'll turn it over to Michael McKay, who is apparently a big Buckeye fan.
Yeah, so I became a Buckeye fan from my dad, but besides that, I was watching the game this past weekend, and this is going to be a new Ohio State team for sure. Now that C.J. Stroud, Jackson Smith, and Jigba are both gone, it's going to be real big time for Marvin Harrison Jr. to show what he's made of and to possibly become that first-round pick for any NFL team to come and grab them. And their defense actually did pretty good for how they looked, with only holding Indiana to a field goal where Ohio State scored 20 more points.
Yep.
So Ohio State starting their Big Ten slate off with a bang with a win over Indiana.
Here's the thing about Ohio State, though. They're going to win all their games, but it's always that one game against Michigan.
But in the middle of the season, there's gonna be some really good games.
Oh, I forgot. They're also versus Notre Dame Week 4.
Yeah,
That will be
including
a game.
Notre
And that game
Dame-
is on
Shush.
7:30 on NBC.
Yeah, including them versus Notre Dame. And
It's
then,
Notre Dame, bro.
Sorry, whatever.
Come on.
Penn State a few weeks later, and then Michigan State 2 weeks before they play Michigan.
Also, with Notre Dame, they are undefeated, and they got a baller, and that name is Sam Hartman.
Well, we'll see how it fares through the rest of the season, but now as the halfway bell sounds, we will turn it over to professional football and the most popular league in the country, the National Football League, which begins tomorrow, September 7th, 8:20 p.m.,
on NBC.
when the Detroit Lions take on the Kansas City Chiefs, the reigning Super Bowl champions, as Alex McKay said, on NBC. Now, we're close to New York. In fact, we're just about a 30 minutes drive from MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford.
Yes.
I'm a big Jets fan. I would like to start off with the New York Jets, who, of course, I'm sure you've heard all the talk, the Hard Knocks films, the Aaron Rodgers hype up.
The news this, the news that.
News this, news that, us bringing in the entirety of the 2015 Pro Bowl team.
The 2015 Green Bay Packers.
I mean, let me have some optimism for a little bit, because I'm sure when Aaron Rodgers tears his ACL coming out of the tunnel week 1 for Monday Night Football, it'll all go away. But we
Good,
have...
as he should.
Stop talking. We have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, our first, dare I say it, actual quarterback in, 20 years?
60 years.
Chad Pennington or Vinny Testaverde.
I was going to say Mark
if you
Sanchez.
can even call
but
Don't
talking
bring Mark Sanchez's name into this.
He's
I
your-
mean, he
he's
did
your
win
best
back-to-back.
QB.
He
Keep
did go
his
to
name
He
out
did
your
go to
mouth.
back-to-back AFC
All right.
championships because Rex Ryan
Everyone's
had a
so
defense.
Don't forget the
We have Aaron Rodgers quarterback, Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook at running back, even though I'm not exactly a fan of the Dalvin Cook
Nice.
signing. I'll take him with Breece Hall there as a good backup. And, of course, in third string, we have this Izzy Abadaconda guy that showed out in the preseason, that rookie. So I have high hopes for our running back core. Of course, Garrett Wilson at wide receiver, the offensive rookie of the year coming into this year. We have Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb, both at wide receiver, 2 big signings from the Green Bay Packers, or former Green Bay Packers.
Garrett Wilson and
Yeah, a good wide receiving core for the Jets. I believe we traded Denzel Mims, right?
I think
I
yeah,
don't
'cause-
know.
yeah, he's on the
but I just looked up.
the Titans, I think, or the
Yeah.
Broncos.
I just looked up their depth chart right now. It says Breece Hall is actually their starting running back for
Yes.
week 1.
Yeah,
He
Dalvin
is.
Cook.
Yeah.
He should be. It's probably Hall, Dalvin Cook, and
Yeah.
Abadaconda.
This may be a scary running back duo
or
if they can
they're either
actually
gonna be-
both perform
yeah.
how they did last year.
They're either
before
gonna be
Breece Hall
really
tore his
We'll
ACL.
we'll just have to see. I mean, Breece Hall had 9 weeks of absolute incredible play. We'll just see if
Yeah.
that
I
ACL
think-
tear-
What happened to Michael Carter? Their
I
backup.
think we released
I
him.
think they're gonna Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook, but eventually during the season, I think the Jets are gonna have Dalvin Cook as a starting running back.
We'll see. I mean, if Breece Hall performs as he did last year, I think he'll retain that starting role.
But also, speaking of the Jets, they are playing Monday Night Football on September 11th at 8:15 on ABC, ESPN, and ESPN Plus.
Well, that's the first real test for these Jets as they take on divisional opponents Buffalo.
And
We saw Aaron Rodgers play against the Giants in the preseason, but it doesn't
that was
really
a
matter
great
because
drive.
but he was playing against the Giants' second string everything, so it doesn't exactly
And he
matter.
still
And we
took
stopped
it.
them on the first drive.
Yeah, and the first real test is this Monday, 8:15. So if you are a Jets fan, I'm sure you're going to be watching. Hopefully, you're as excited as I am. First time being excited for these Jets, I guess,
Since
ever.
Mark
No,
Sanchez.
because I was 2 years old when Mark Sanchez was there. Not even. So
Still
for the first
excited.
time in my conscious lifetime, I guess,
I had
I'm
the Marks-
excited for a New York Jets football
I
season.
had the Mark Sanchez
For now.
jersey when I was little.
Well, I think I did too.
Yeah, 'cause he's
And then she was
he's
just
the-
saying,
he's the best Jets
What
QB.
happened?
What happened, Mark
Eagles,
Sanchez?
what happened?
Anyways,
Past is in the past.
speaking
We're on a new
of
season now.
speaking
So
of
lost,
New
I
York,
don't
we
care.
also have
Giants versus
Lord,
Cowboys.
and Lord help the MetLife Stadium grounds crew as they're going to have to pull an all-nighter to get that.
The amount
Field
of
ready.
trash it's going to be.
Oh, of course. Because we have Sunday Night Football, 8:20 on NBC on Sunday. We have Dallas versus the Giants
Who thought this would be a
Where
good
also
idea?
at MetLife?
at
Yeah.
MetLife.
Who
yes.
thought it would be a good idea to
Wow.
host both of them back to back?
Well,
back?
they're
I
on
don't know.
different
I
days,
guess,
so
I
they
guess
can.
if SoFi
Yeah, but
Stadium can do it,
back-to-back.
MetLife can too.
I
Greatest city
pray
in the
there's no
world.
Yeah.
concerts or events during that time.
There won't
Or
be.
No,
their grounds
they
crew better be-
got all the Bruce Springsteen they got all the
They
Bruce
got that out of the
Springsteen
way.
concerts done this past weekend.
Yeah.
Go Bruce, we saw that on Sunday. So yeah, good luck to MetLife's grounds crew as the Giants take on the Cowboys Sunday night, and then almost 24 hours later, it's Buffalo versus the Jets. The Giants, not really much to talk about with the Giants.
Not much happened.
They solved the Saquon Barkley debacle that they had.
Finally.
Pretty much
That was a
just
while
gave
ago.
him the salary cap plus like what was it, $1 million?
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But the thing is that
Because he's trying to bet on himself too much.
Yeah.
Saquon and I know
he-
that we're not talking about them right now, but also Josh Jacobs, they both did the right thing with signing. Because if they did what I can't
Jonathan
remember.
Taylor.
Well, Jonathan Taylor still isn't signed, but if they did what I can't remember the player's name, but what the one Steelers running back
Oh,
played.
Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell did a few years ago. If
Don't
they-
remind me of that.
Oh, how he went to the Jets. and
I'm
screwed-
sorry for you, Matt.
I'll be fine.
I do have to say, like, the Giants, they do have some good young receivers on their team. They have Jalen Wyatt from Tennessee,
Yeah,
Richie James Jr.
yeah.
Yep.
Isaiah Hodgins.
And they do have it Darren Waller. They do
Exactly.
I
have
mean,
Waller.
That you stole from us.
The one big need for the Giants last year was the wide receiving core, and it looks like
Yeah.
they've got some
And
promising.
Jalen
rookies there.
Wyatt, he was originally number 84, but he changed his number to 13.
Do we know where
Maybe
Kenny
an
Galladay
unlucky
went to?
thing.
Because I know he got released by the Giants.
Where who?
Who?
Kenny Galladay. Is
Uh,
he a free agent?
Probably some random team.
Oh, random fact, do you know that Marvin Jones Jr. is back on the Lions?
Wow.
really?
Yeah, because he
After
was
all this
originally on the
time.
Lions, then went to Jacksonville, and now he's back on the Lions.
Did they release him?
Something.
It says he's still on the Giants.
No,
Might be
he's not on the
practice
Giants
squad.
anymore.
Yeah, maybe practice squad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also have two Raiders fans in here, unfortunately.
Oh,
How's
yeah.
the hot Italian quarterback treating you guys?
He's actually been looking pretty good in
His foot's cold,
preseason.
though, isn't it?
Nah, he's been cleared. He's gonna. I think he may actually do pretty.
I have him
And-
as
I don't want to say
and,
anything.
and
I have
in
him
his
as my
first-
back QB. I have him as my QB backup in fantasy.
Yeah.
The Lord help
But
you.
also, he did. I know it was against second strings, but he did go 4 for 4 with, I believe, a touchdown and 44 yards in his first appearance in the Raiders
Alright.
jersey. So
Speaking of quarterbacks, I actually want to go to the Raiders' new backup quarterback, their rookie 5th round pick, Aiden
I
O'Connell,
thought he was a fourth
who
rounder.
has been
Who's
doing really good in all of preseason. I get his preseason.
I'm sorry, I gotta do this.
Who? Rookie quarterback,
Aiden
But-
O'Connell.
but
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
okay.
Oh,
But
boy.
he, if I'm not mistaken, he went 36 for 46 in passing.
He had a
attempts.
69.4% completion rate with 482 passing yards and 3 touchdowns in 3 weeks, I believe. And he had 0 interceptions. So.
Well, I hope you guys are ready for the Aiden O'Connell era in Las Vegas as we
Oh,
expect
and
Jimmy
before
Garoppolo.
we move on,
The over under on
I
Jimmy
saw-
Garoppolo's injury week is about
And-
5.5, and I'll
and-
take the under.
Yeah. But also, Aiden O'Connell is number 4.
why is Stephon Diggs on your fantasy bench?
What?
Whoa. Yeah.
We're-
Why
we're
is
all-
Stephon Diggs on your
For
fantasy
some
bench?
context here for the
I don't
listeners,
know.
we're all in the same fantasy league. So, of course, as we talk about the NFL, Sam goes up and pulls up Sean's team when he brings up his backup quarterback.
Stephon
And
Diggs.
now we're all the way talking about how Sean has Stephon Diggs on his bench.
Oh, but speaking of,
I don't know.
thank
Sean,
God we have
Sean
20 minutes
screwed
left.
himself over.
Yeah, thank God.
Sean traded for I'm pretty sure it was 5 receivers. He traded me, Josh Jacobs, but he in return got Aaron Jones, and Brian Robinson, Michael
Bijan?
Thomas. No, Brian Robinson
Oh.
from the Commanders. Michael Thomas and Mike Williams. I mean, I got a few other players too, but I mean, he traded for Brandon Ayuk, Michael Thomas, Mike Williams, and Chris Godwin all in the same week. He traded for several
Tanked his
receivers
team
that he
in
did
one
not need in 1 week, and right now he has Mike Evans and Chris Godwin starting, even though Stephon Diggs
Is Stephon Diggs on his bench?
Stephon
Whoa.
Diggs is projected 0.06 less points than Chris Godwin.
I don't know why he's on the bench. I'm going to change it later.
Yeah.
Chill out, man.
So
Well, he hasn't touched it in a while.
I know.
And including Sean's done 3 trades so far, and we drafted.
And
our
we're not
team
even
on
3 days in.
Yeah, we drafted our team on Sunday morning. It is currently Wednesday, and he's already done 3 trades, including he traded Brock Purdy for
A tight end.
for
Tight end.
Juwan Johnson,
Oh,
a
yeah.
tight end for the Saints, who
Not
didn't
Jimmy
even play
Graham.
last year.
not Foster Moreau,
Jawan Johnson.
not even Taysom
Yeah,
Hill.
because the
who
Jawan
I-
Johnson guy's just
He
tight
has
end
less than a
starting.
20% start percentage. He's projected 52.7 roster.
Why? Because the Saints are going to win the Super Bowl?
Yes.
Anyways, enough with all this fantasy talk.
Alright.
Let's go
Nice.
to our. We'll just go over the national games for the NFL this week. Of course, tomorrow night we have Detroit versus Kansas City, 8:20 on NBC.
Really excited for that one.
America's game of the week on Fox this week is Chicago versus Green Bay, which is supposed to be a close game. The spread is only 1 point in favor of Chicago right now, so we'll have to see. And I believe we have some breaking news about the Las Vegas Raiders. So what's this about, Michael?
So, less than 24 hours ago, Chandler Jones, Raiders edge rusher they had gotten last season
From the Cardinals.
who they signed in the offseason, is now having issues with the team because I believe he was trying to talk to Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler, but they would not let him into the building, and he's saying that he may want out of the Raiders he may want out of the Raiders team.
Alright, if you hear laughing in the background, Sam had found.
We're all over the place today.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Pascack Clutch, everybody. We hope you
Season
enjoyed
2,
listening.
let's go!
This podcast is
I
a
found
joke.
a picture
Sean,
of
come
James
on.
Harden
Put it
without
out
his
there.
beard in 2012.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
I'll see if I can put up the picture for you guys if you can't look it up. James Harden without the beard. I'm
Well, there's
sure
also news about James Harden, how he
it
said he
should
feels
be worth
disrespected.
We'll
from
get
the
we'll
Sixers.
get into the NBA and
When it comes
NHL
up.
when it comes up in about
Yeah.
a month. But we'll just get back to the NFL right now. The CBS national game at 4
College
o'clock
basketball.
that's not
I'm
happening for
joking.
another 2 months, Sean.
We got some time before that one.
Yeah.
The national game at 4:25 for CBS is Philadelphia versus New England, and we do have an Eagles fan here, Sam Koppelman. You got anything to say about these? About
I mean,
these
we had a.
First-
You're going to lose in week 1.
First, I have to
To the
say,
Patriots?
Eagles. What
Patriots have a
happened?
top
With our
five
preseason, we
defense.
played second and third stringers the entire time.
No, I'm talking about the Super Bowl.
I just have one
against
name.
Patrick Mahomes.
Here's the
Yeah,
thing.
up
no,
24
everyone be
to
quiet.
10
no,
or
stop,
24
stop
14.
talking. Stop. Right?
And he was injured.
Can I tell you why the Eagles are going to lose? 1, Eagles on the road. 2, the Patriots have a top 5 defense that can definitely stop the Eagles'
Yeah, but they
offense.
have a bottom 5 offense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, but they still their receivers are still somewhat good.
Who else is there?
Juju.
What is there?
Jacoby Myers is gone.
What is their
He's on
wide
the Raiders
receiver one?
now.
Juju Smith-Schuster.
Juju
What the hell?
and some
It
K. Harris.
should,
All you've got is
be
tight
a
ends.
defensive battle, but
Kevin
if
Harris.
if you think about it,
The Patriots can
the
beat them,
Eagles'
though.
defense, their entire front seven is pretty much rookies.
Exactly.
I mean, their entire offensive line and linebacker core is just skinned alive from the Georgia Bulldogs last year. So they're all
you still
pretty
got-
much rookies.
you still got
although
those
although
star-
playing at Georgia in the SEC is pretty much like playing in an NFL.
And every time when Patriots are on the
Yeah.
goal line, running with Zeke every time, free
Look, it's
touchdown.
it's a high caliber college
but
program.
You have the
So-
top five defense in the league going up against Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, and Devonta Smith.
Yeah.
So I think it should be a good game. That's
Don't forget about
4:25 on
Dallas
CBS.
Goedert.
Yeah.
If you're,
Yeah, don't forget about
if you're
Dallas.
anywhere from
Yeah.
Maine to Texas to North Dakota, you pretty much have that game.
Yeah.
If you don't, good luck, buddy. You're stuck with Vegas against Denver.
That Eagles,
Yeah.
that Eagles offense may actually be scary because you do have also a really good backfield now. You have
They have a bunch of
You have
people from all different.
DeAndre
around
Swift,
the league.
who they got from the Lions, and then they have Kenneth Gainwell, and then there's someone else who I'm not thinking of.
I think all this
They
weekend's
don't-
football games are going to be good.
They also got rid of Miles Sanders.
They
He's
got rid of
now-
Miles Sanders
He's on
to
the
the Panthers.
now.
Yeah. And then, of course, we have the Sunday night and Monday night games. We talked about those already. We have the Cowboys versus the Giants on Sunday night and the Bills versus the Jets on Monday night. Go New York, go New York.
There is one game that is going to be pretty it's going to be a weird game. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers against the San Francisco 49ers.
Nick
Bosa.
Nick Bosa
It's
still hasn't
Brock-
signed a
It's
contract.
Brock Purdy versus
Kenny
Kenny
Pickett.
Pickett. So
Oh, did you hear what I said? I said Nick Bosa hasn't. He
Signed his
hasn't
contract.
signed yet.
He's going to sign.
He's going to end up signing.
The 49ers have the best.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying right now they still don't have a contract
it-
agreement.
It is listed as a close game. The spread is
Yeah.
only 2 points in favor of San Francisco, although ESPN's matchup predictor has 56% chance to win for the Niners. I'll go with the Niners on that one, just because I have more faith in Deebo Samuel and Christian
Yeah.
McCaffrey than I do
Right
Kenny
now,
Pickett
yeah,
and George
I'm betting-
Pickens.
It is
What do you
pretty close. San
George Pickens
Francisco
has been
is-
balling in training
Yes.
camp.
That's
But
training
it's
camp,
training
bro.
camp.
Yeah, it's training
Okay,
camp.
but I mean, it is gonna be a close game. San Francisco has a -2 for the rating, so
I'm just saying, I got New York Giants beating Dallas Cowboys week 1 because Dak Prescott has not been looking good so
Well, it's
far.
Dak Prescott, he has never looked good except his rookie season.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that should wrap up our NFL coverage.
Oh, just one thing.
Oh my god.
Dak Prescott is already in mid-season mode. He's thrown so many dang interceptions. I'm pretty sure at this point he's thrown more interceptions than he's thrown touchdown passes.
But
in
why are
the
you
preseason.
talking? The Cowboys are gonna have a better record than the Raiders.
Why?
Okay.
Because the Saints are going to win the
We'll
Super Bowl.
see. We'll see. We'll see. Anyways, since we have about 10 minutes to go here, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Major League Baseball since that season is coming to an end, of course, playing all across summer pretty much the entire year. Going over the standings, it looks like the Rays have a pretty good lead to come back to. It's actually the Baltimore Orioles in the lead of the AL East right now.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, the New York Yankees are 18 games back at 69 and 69.
It's the
Nice.
first time since 1969.
that they were at 69 and 69.
we-
Exactly
Nice.
500 for the Yankees somehow.
Also, I may
Can
add,
we still make the playoffs or no?
no, they're sure.
No, they mathematically they're still eligible.
Yeah, but
if
they
you
need
use your
every-
head, if
They
you
need
have one or two
everyone
brain
else-
cells,
They need everyone else in
then
front of them to lose.
they're pretty much
every
eliminated.
game, and the Yankees need. to
They
win
versed the
every game.
Tigers today, I think, right?
Yeah.
They can get
the-
90. They could get like 91 wins. This
Yeah.
season if they
Exactly.
win everything.
Yeah.
So- In the MLB, we have the AL East and the American League as a whole, led by Baltimore. Then it is in the West, the Houston Astros. Although they did get swept by the Yankees, they are still in first in the AL West. Although Seattle is 1 game back, and Texas is only 2 games back. Although Jacob deGrom is injured once again for the 90 billionth time.
I was surprised by
I
that.
thought he was. I felt like he was gonna get another Tommy John in the
Yeah.
middle of the season. I
No,
heard
the thing about
something like that.
the sad thing about Jacob deGrom, his career might be over. This is his second Tommy John surgery.
Yeah.
I don't think his arm's gonna let him throw.
No.
Why is Bro keeping Tommy John?
Because he keeps hurting his arm
He keeps hurting his arm.
and needing Tommy John.
Yeah.
And then in baseball's meme division, I guess you could call it, the AL Central, we have Minnesota with a 73-66 record,
I'm
just
gonna be
above 500 and leading the division. 7 games back is their closest competition, the Cleveland Guardians. And in the AL wildcard race, we have Tampa Bay, Seattle, and Toronto, although Toronto is only a half game above the Texas Rangers for that AL wildcard slot.
Honestly, I feel like the entire MLB this year is kind of just a joke. Just really one-sided for like one team. It's just kind of
It has
nothing to really
been-
talk about. Nothing interesting.
Yeah, not much interesting.
The
I hope
MLB
the
has
playoffs should be
been
all
the
right.
MLB has been a bit mid.
It has been.
Like,
It has been. It has
We
been
need-
for
we
a
need-
while. Let's be
Honestly,
honest.
let's hope the Jets and the Giants give New York sports
Yeah.
the turnarounds it needs this year.
Because let's be honest. I mean, the Yankees only 18 games back. Mets are 26 and a half games back of Atlanta, who is the only team in baseball as of right now with 90 wins. They're sitting
Yeah.
at 90-47, leading the National League East
Which
and
is
the
partly
National
why this
League
year's
as a
boring.
whole.
No one has 100
Yep.
wins yet.
And in the West and second place as of right now in the NL is the LA Dodgers with a 14-game lead over Arizona. And then in the NL Central, we have Minnesota at 77-61 with a 2.5-game lead over the Chicago Cubs. In the NL wildcard race, we have Philadelphia, the Phillies, and the Chicago Cubs all in wildcard slots. And then the Reds in that last wild card slot, although they're only a half game above the Marlins for that slot.
Come on,
So
Reds,
it
beat
should
the
be an interesting wild card race. Although baseball as a whole, although it has been shorter,
It's been very
hasn't
one-sided.
been very interesting this year. Hopefully they can rebound from that for the playoffs, which of course we'll talk about a little bit here on the Pascack Clutch. And I think that'll end it. But before we go, we do have one thing to talk about, a new segment.
So one thing I want to talk about is last night the Ben Shelton and Francis Tiafoe match at the U.S. Open. First time since I think since 1969, I want to say, or no, first time in history that two African American men have faced off in the U.S. Open or even just in an Open in a quarterfinal. They were hitting absolute bombs last night. I was watching at like half the match, or 3/4 of it. Just crazy. Shelton was hitting 140s no problem like he normally is. Francis was just trying to go all out. Great match last night.
Yeah, we do have a lot to talk about because the U.S. Open does end this weekend. We do have some matches tonight between Daniil Medvedev and Andrei Rublev, the two Russians. Actually, that's going on just about now.
Yeah, it should be on right now.
At the U.S. Open. That's the men's quarterfinals, and then the number one ranked player in the tournament, and I think in the world, Carlos Alcaraz, plays Alexander Zverev from Germany in the other quarterfinal tonight. And the final for that is on this Sunday. We have the men's singles final at 4, the women's doubles final, and the women's singles final, all this Sunday, September 10th, 2023. But of course, unfortunately, I don't think anybody will
Yeah,
care
no one's watching that
because the
football.
NFL's back. Anyways, before we go, we do have one more thing to talk about, which is a new segment that we're going to have here on the Pascack Clutch. We want your input. We're going to have 1, 2, maybe 3 games of the week. We'll have a Google form down in the description. And we want you to pick your winner. We'll pick our winners for those games. And then we will talk about it on the next show. So this week we have one out of college football and one out of the NFL. In college football, as we mentioned, it's number 3 Alabama versus number 11 Texas. Alabama is home. What do you guys think about that one?
I think that game's gonna be a close game. It's a top 25 matchup. Both teams are high ranked. I feel like Alabama or Texas can win this one, but I feel like Alabama will come out on top. But like I do like Texas' chances though.
Well, if you remember back to last year, Texas did almost upset Alabama. It was a very
Yeah,
close
but
game.
I know that's what I'm saying.
But
This
it
game's close.
it was in Austin. not
Now they're in
Tuscaloosa.
Bama. It's a night game.
Yes. I'll go with Bama for that one. Sean's going with Bama, I presume.
I like Texas' chances though.
I presume
this
the
long?
rest of you will
It's
go.
Longhorns, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going Bama.
Yeah. I presume the rest of you will go
Yeah.
Bama with that.
Yeah.
Not much
you
difference
never know.
there. But in the NFL, we will.
I guess I might go Longhorns.
All right.
Change it up.
Good luck.
Yeah.
And then in the NFL, we'll go with our game of the week on Thursday night. Lions-Chiefs should be a close one, but I do think the Chiefs will pull it out to start off
anything-
their Super Bowl defense.
Anything about this Texas-Bama game, Texas is going to be SEC, so, like, I feel like this game will actually be, like, go down to where, like, Texas has to, like, put themselves out there, like, all right, we just beat you guys now. We just beat you, Bama. If they do, we're going to be in the SEC
we
now.
belong in the SEC.
Exactly. So I feel like this game is going to go
it's
down
kind of-
to the final drive.
It's kind of like a Super Bowl. III
Exactly.
type
Like,
scenario.
I have Bama winning, but, like,
I mean, what
I won't be surprised if Texas does win and upset Bama, since they will be in the SEC next year and they have to, like, I know, like, they're going to be it, but they have to prove it and win.
All right. For my NFL game of the week, I'm going to go with the Lions. Number one, I'm a Raiders fan, so I have to hate the Chiefs. And number two, this Lions team has actually been looking really good. They've really turned it around since Dan Campbell got there. And I see Jahmyr Gibbs being a good running back starter for the Lions. I see Jared Goff maybe actually becoming his 2018 self. Whatever.
Yeah, when they made the Super Bowl.
2018.
And how did that go?
Yeah.
16-3.
All right, Sean.
All right.
What do you got for the
For Thursday night.
Chiefs Detroit game?
I got Lions upsetting Kansas City.
Let's go.
Everybody wants to hope, but it's not happening. Sam,
It could.
KC,
Not
Yeah.
gonna look for what
Travis Kelce ain't playing, right?
I mean,
Travis
and
actually.
Alex, you already picked one upset. I presume you'll go safe option with this.
No, he's going
Lions.
Detroit.
Of course,
He's
is.
going double upset.
Well,
Just
we do.
I gotta
want-
root for my fantasy player,
Yeah.
Travis Kelce. Hopefully,
Even though he
makes a
won't-
return.
even though he won't play.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right,
Who are they
but
going to throw the ball to?
Enough with our
Kadarius
picks.
Toney?
We want your opinion. Please, in the description, we'll have a Google form. So please make your picks there. For now, I'm Matthew Merlino, along with Sean Barry, Michael McKay, Sam Koppelman, and Alex McKay. Thank you for joining us on the Pascack Clutch. We hope you enjoyed the first of many episodes coming for this season 2. We're going to try and have one every week for you, especially during football season. And as the bell rings, have a good day.